Everybody's living in fear. So that fear is real, and that fear creates trauma within us. And that trauma is something that it's really hard to process. And anytime, any second, that trauma can get triggered. And when you were talking earlier about microaggression, yeah, those are the little things that triggers all of our traumas. And when the person has trauma, it paralyzes a person. It makes them not wanting to be able to function, not able to think right. It creates anxiety. It creates a lot of negative thinking. Everything that we learn to suppress is coming up. So those fears becomes bigger. The trauma becomes bigger. So there's a lot of PTSD, a lot of anxiety, a lot of depression that's creating within people. If people can listen to each other and acknowledge their feelings and respect what they're saying, you wouldn't have this kind of animosity, people arguing over the dumbest thing. Try to do better. Try to change things. Try not to perpetuate the same old behaviors, the same old thinking, the same old sayings. That those are the microaggressions. Just because you're used to it doesn't mean it's okay. So we all need to learn how to heal, how to process this, how to get back into it safely. We can't jump back to the dance like if nothing happened. Something happened to us, to all of us. So let's all be gentle, be kind with each other, love each other a little more. Let's heal, and then we can have fun again. We can do this. We're in this together. Let's be mindful. Let's listen to each other. Let's keep this dance alive.
I just want to quickly thank T-Safe for coming over and recording that video. We are at $9,000. We're almost at our goal for 10,000. So this is one last push, please, everyone. If you have it in you, please donate. We're doing good work here. Sorry, we're very over. It's an ambitious program, but there was great information, and I'm so happy that you all were able to hear this. So our interpreters are probably going to have to jump off in a little bit, but we will caption the back half of this. And I just want to just share one very quick story. I know we don't have time for this, but this is something that's really important to me, which was when Tisei was here shooting that video. She is one of the frontline workers, and she shared with me, her and a few other frontline workers in our community are on a group chat in which they were supporting each other. Because, especially in Los Angeles back during December and January, when we were having like tens of thousands of cases a day, and we were having, I think, we went up to like 300 deaths daily in Los Angeles County. These mental health professionals have been in it for the last year and a half. While we're out here clearing our Netflix accounts, they've been watching people die and comforting people who have been losing loved ones. So I just want to get a call out to our community for you that have already structured birthday jams in your scene. If you're not calling out the mental health professionals, I don't know, I'm getting choked up saying this. I feel like we should be calling out to mental health professionals first before doing any jams, before any birthdays. So the entire community, the entire dance can see these folks who've been holding it down for all of us and honoring them, prior to any other of those celebrations. So anyway, with no further ado, I'm going to push it over to Chisomo Salamani. Thank you so much for being here.
And Shahid, I have to say, thank you for your honesty and your vulnerability. I appreciated at the very beginning how you expressed that this you were anxious and you were in this moment fully as yourself, every bit of who you are. And so when we think about mental health, when we think about coming together and moving together, we want to invite people to be the full spectrum of their humanity. We want to invite people into the fullness of who they are, every bit. And I think our society prizes particular perspectives and being appearing a certain way. But as we know, as we've been traversing not one, but three pandemics, and Shahid, at the beginning of this presentation, you'd mentioned our country is facing, the United States is facing two viruses, right? And so the virus of COVID-19, but then also what public health specialists say is a public health issue, which is racism, right? And so if we look at these pandemics, we have COVID-19, mental health. Brene Brown said that we have a mental health pandemic, and then um, racism. And so we are dealing with some very real, very deep reaching considerations. So as we seek to move together, as we seek to form our swarms and move forward better, let us do that in the broad spectrum of our humanity. And so I wanted to talk about ways in which we can do that. And so I'm going to name some approaches and I'm going to give you some homework. So one of the approaches is a trauma-informed perspective. And the CDC, the Centers for Disease Control, has on their website uh, some strategies, some guidelines for a trauma-informed perspective. And so I'm a college professor, as you probably heard. So I, of course, have a PowerPoint, and I'm a speech pathologist, which means that I overly prepare and have a lesson plan for everything. So you get to see all of my slides in reverse. So we have these 6 guiding principles to a trauma informed approach. And so, one of the things that I love about this is that it says adopting a trauma informed approach is not accomplished through any singular particular technique or checklist. It requires constant attention, caring awareness, sensitivity, and possibly a cultural shift. And so, today we've been talking about cultural shifts and flexibility and responsiveness. And so, I would ask for you to consider these things as we move forward. So we've talked through so many different things, and as Shahid said, this is a comprehensive agenda. And I hope that you have notes upon notes, and also know that there will be resources. So I'll have my full PowerPoint with resources available to you. Right now, I'm only going through a couple slides. So as we move forward, I want to reinforce this idea. We talked about safety before. Um, we may perceive ourselves as safe, or we may perceive our experiences as not that bad. So I mentioned we're kind of going through some things collectively throughout the world, throughout the United States, in our various scenes. But you might be thinking, you know what? It wasn't that bad for me. I actually had a pretty good year and a half. It's actually not that bad. I'm good and I feel safe and my environment is safe. So of course other people are safe. Well, safety, as somebody else had mentioned earlier today, safety cannot be defined from our own perspective. So we need to we need to make sure that we're asking questions and doing things through collaboration and through community connection. And so I want to ask you this question as we wrap up. Do you have what it takes? I can imagine today, after you've heard all of these bits of information, heard all of these different approaches, that it might be overwhelming. And you might be asking yourself, am I equipped? Like, you might be paralyzed with fear, wondering, like, can I actually start up again? Do I have the skills? Do I have the resources? Should I? Can you be what your scene needs in this moment? And I would call on Lori's words, and I would encourage you to take a hold of growth mindset and to not be stymied by uh, all of these different things, and think about change, think about challenges as an opportunity. And so you might be like, that's great. That's really inspirational. Thank you. But how do I do that? Well, I think the first step is in bravery, it's in courage. So Brene Brown says that what we need now are transformational leaders. And the ingredient that you need to be a transformational leader is courage. And we might think the word courage and think that courage happens in the absence of fear. All of us who deal with anxiety know we do a lot, right? I deal with anxiety on a daily basis. Like I teach, I speak for a living. More often than not, I'm shaking as I'm doing so, or I'm experiencing anxious feelings. People who know me or have seen me many times are like, often like confused or like what. But we do things scared. We do things in the presence of fear. And so we don't need to get rid of fear. We need to manage it and make sure it doesn't go into panic and see that in our communities as well. But courage, good courage, comes through vulnerability. And so the opposite of courage and the barrier to courage and courageous leadership is actually self protection and not fear. So I think that's a really important thing to remember is that if you are seeking to control and you're seeking to protect yourself, what are you missing? What are you who is being harmed? And so oftentimes when we're anxious, we try to control things. When we don't understand things, we try to control things. We've learned this through coloniality. See, bringing it full circle. So once again, the number one key to transformational leaders is vulnerability. So as we move forward, let us celebrate, remember, and be. Let us celebrate the broad spectrum of our humanity and invite others to celebrate the full spectrum of their humanity. Let us remember that this is an imperfect journey. You're going to make mistakes. I don't like making a mistake. I try to say I'm not a type A person, but you can see by this PowerPoint that I've got some type A tendencies. So I don't like making mistakes, but we are going to make mistakes on this journey. And we have to first apologize and thank people when we're called out. I'm working on this. It's hard, but we can do hard things. And we need to let's be vulnerable and honest. Let's shift and pivot quickly. Let's see our moments of change and discomfort as opportunities. So I would invite you today to be brave. Let's be brave together. So as we close out this time, I want to bring our awareness to the founding president of my country, Zambia, Kenneth Kaunda. So Kenneth Kaunda just recently passed away. So this memory is really important to me. He, after we got independence from Britain, um, he recognized that we needed to move forward in unity, and he united 72 different tribes. Imagine that. 72 different tribes, 72 different languages, 72 different ways of being and doing and existing, and not saying that we all need to be the same at all, but he united us under the banner, One Zambia, One Nation. And Zambia and Malawi, in our independence struggle and in our independence success, have a uniting phrase, Tiende pamozi di mutima umo. And this is the spirit that I hope for us to move forward in. Tiende, let us walk together, pamozi, together, with one heart. Let us walk together with one heart. Though we are different, let's come together in community, reciprocal engagement, and connection.
All right, that's it for our program. Laurel, I think you're going to bring us home on the thank yous. Yeah, let's do it.
That's me. Thank you, Somo. Thank you, everyone. It is just, it's so powerful to hear from all of you and the different perspectives that you bring and your experiential knowledge and your institutional knowledge. Thank you to everybody who's been watching. Thank you to our donors. Thank you to our future donors. Again, those links are still in the chat. It is not too late to donate. I mean, it's never too late to donate to the Black Lindy Hoppers Fund and to support their incredible initiatives and programs. Thank you to them for partnering with us, to board members Tina Morales-Armstrong, Marie Jai, Latasha Barnes, and Julia Love for all the work that you're doing. And I just want to shout out to the behind the scenes crew. who brought us this production, including Brett Dollenberg, Nick Williams, Melissa Marzigliano, and a special thanks to our ASL interpreters, Dion Harrell and Brandy Moody. You have helped us achieve an accessibility goal that is just speaks to our values as a community, and we're really appreciative of that. Thank you to the entire Move Together team who have volunteered their time for months to make everything happen. So that's Aisha Kasim, Dr. Ndiaye Kasim, Lance Powell, Lisa Powell-Graham, Nick Williams, Shashid Kasim, and Vicky Chan. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So all of the resources they are on the Move Together website, which is www, that stands for World Wide Web .movetogetherdance.org. So it's movetogetherdance.org. And if you would, for those of you who are participating today, just take 5 to 10 minutes, while you're, don't say, I'm going to say it anyway. While you're taking your bathroom break afterwards, just get your phone out and fill out a brief follow-up survey. Or don't do it. Do it when you're not in the bathroom. Move on, Laurel. So we have a brief follow-up survey while it's all fresh in your mind. The link is in the chat. So your feedback is very important, and it'll also help us to learn more about the concrete action steps that you plan to take in your home scene to make it more diverse, inclusive, and help us connect you to resources in the future. And just thank you to everybody who has participated today. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Together, we can make it a better, kinder, more inclusive dance scene and spill out into a better, kinder world. Thanks, everyone.